The following is a presentation of the Women's Football Alliance.
The WFA is celebrating its 15th season, and we're taking the party on the road to Canton. Welcome to the Road to Canton. I'm your host, Brian Sweeney, the voice of the WFA Pro Division National Championship game. This year, the Women's Football Alliance has 14 teams in WFA Pro, and we're really excited to see which of those teams punches their ticket to Canton, Ohio at the end of July. With me again this year is Alex Westhead. Alex, welcome back, and how excited are you for this season?
Well, thanks, Brian. Happy to be back, and I think that there's a lot of really exciting things to look forward to in this WFA season. In the Pro Division especially, you had a Mountain Range team, you had a team in the American South, and a team from the state of Texas. There's a lot of things to look forward to this season.
Well, let's take a look at the WFA Pro Team Week 1 matchups. The Alabama Fire open up their season versus the Division II Derby City Dynamite. The Fire are making their WFA Pro debut against last year's Division II runners-up. The Cali War are on the road to play the Division III Central Valley Chaos. Last season, Cali went 6-2 with their final loss of the season in the American Conference Championship. The Detroit Venom host the Division II Columbus Chaos. Detroit is coming off a 4-2 season where they just missed the playoffs. The Houston Energy are on the road to play the Division II Austin Outlaws. Although last season, the 5-3 Energy were a Division II team, this year they've made the jump to WFA Pro. And in the WFA Pro versus WFA Pro games, the Minnesota Vixens start on the road when they visit the St. Louis Slam. St. Louis finished 2022 at 4-2, and Minnesota lost the national championship with a final record of 6-3. The Arlington Impact host in-state rival Dallas Elite Mustangs. Arlington went 5-2 last season, losing in the first round of the playoffs, whereas Dallas finished 2-4. The DC Divas host the Pittsburgh Passion. Pittsburgh finished 5-3 in 2022, losing in the second round of the playoffs, and the Divas lost in the first round, finishing 2-5. The Mile High Blaze host the Nevada Storm. Last season, the Storm had the D3, D2 Pro Championship hat track crushed when the Minnesota Vixen beat them in the first round of the playoffs, but still finished 4-3 in their first season of pro play. For the Blaze, who finished 7-1 and won the Division II championship, they look to become the next team to find success after moving up to pro. Boston and Tampa start the season on byes. Alex, any early thoughts on the WFA Pro matchups this year?
Well, I think that the WFA Pro Division is going to be more competitive than it's been in years past. I think the National Conference will run through Boston until somebody can prove otherwise. Boston hasn't lost a game in 4 or 5 years at this point. So until somebody beats Boston, that division, that conference is going to run through the Boston Renegades. The American Conference on the other side, I think, is a little bit more wide open. I think there's a lot of competition in it, and there's a lot of different things where you look at a defensive play, a offensive play. There's a lot of opportunities, certainly, for teams to make moves just on those inter-conference games as well. Especially you look at Cali, their offense should be back and ready to go. Nevada has some questions that we'll talk about later on in this week's show, and Minnesota still figures to be one of the best teams in the WFA. It's going to be an interesting season in the American Conference.
Lois Cook is back again this season with her segment, Low on the Go.
It's game week. I'm so excited. I know you're excited too. So we're going to kick off this season with a special guest. Let's get it.
I'm John Booty.
John Booty, a rookie from TCU.
How was your NFL experience?
My NFL experience, played back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
A long time ago.
I'm sitting right here, so I can hear it. It's a childhood dream to be able to play football in high school and college and then make it to the pros. I was able to play 8 years. And so to see anybody to make your dream come true, I admire it.
Now I get to play football at the highest level for women. I feel like I'm living my dream. So I want to get your take on the Women's Pro Football League.
Well, anytime a lady wants to go out and prove herself as a football player, my hat's off to her, because you got to be a little special. You're growing up playing football in the backyard or on the road, and then you play organized football, and you use your body as a battering ram and your head. You got to be a little touched, but that's a special breed. Not everybody can do it.
You've come out to plenty of WFA games before. What's your take on women playing football in general?
Well, I've seen there's some ladies out there head and shoulders above others. I have seen that. But at the same time, the competitive juices, that's what you want to see. That's what I want to see. And that's what the fans want to see. The competitive juices of other ladies playing together as a team. Watching you all out on the field, competing to the bitter end, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. As you know, the season is starting right now.
Right.
We are officially upon week 1.
First game of the year, right? You got to build on this. So you got to have extreme excitement for the first game. You got to get all those butterflies out of your stomach. You got to get those panic attacks going. You got to get everything that you worked hard for during the off season and put it in a package and build it up like a stick of dynamite.
Yeah.
Well, let the dynamite explode for 4 quarters.
Last question.
Okay.
This game is actually going to be honoring the late Franco Harris. I should say the late and great.
Late and great Hall of Famer Franco Harris.
Hall of Famer
Yes.
Franco Harris. You know, you were friends with him.
Yeah.
He's such a great person.
He was a great person.
Can you give me some thoughts?
Well, my thoughts on Franco Harris, my first time ever meeting him was years ago in Tampa for a golf outing. And then his sister, Luana, invited me to the Franco Harris Immaculate Reception Dinner. And I got to tell you, just from the first time I met him, just the conversation you have with him, you wouldn't think he had a gold jacket. You think I would sit there and stand there and talk with you and look in your eyes and just, hey, they want to get to know who you are.
John,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
being a supporter of women's football.
Yeah.
Your words are very meaningful and they
I
go a long
appreciate
way.
you.
Thank you for
You're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, you're impressive. She did not beat the old man in the agility drill.
Oh!
She did not do it.
Let's roll the clip.
Yeah, roll the clip. She came in second place because she tackled me.
It was incidental, and I don't think that it was second place.
It was second place.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's week 1, and this season, the WFA is going to highlight 2 national games of the week each and every week of the season. Up first this week is Pittsburgh and DC. Alex, what can you tell us about this matchup?
The Pittsburgh-DC matchup is a rivalry in the WFA that's been in existence since both teams entered the league in the early part of the 2000s. This is a matchup that played itself out in the regular season finale last season, with Pittsburgh winning over DC by a final score of 36-12. For the Pittsburgh Passion, they look to return to the National Conference Championship game for a second consecutive year. Now, with Pittsburgh, we think of the Pittsburgh Passion as a defensive-oriented team. We think of Pittsburgh as a team that's going to do very well head-to-head against those teams in that pro division, especially in the National Conference. We think of them as well with defensively last year, 4th in the WFA's pro division, averaging about 10 points against per game. That's going to keep them competitive, especially on that National Conference side. We talked last section against how they have to do against Boston. Certainly that figures to help them out against the Renegades later on this season. But with DC, they have that proven track record of being able to stop the Diva offense and certainly being able to continue to do so. Niedermeyer continues to be a factor on the defensive line for the Pittsburgh Passion, the leading returning tackler a season ago and an All-American as well last July in Canton, Ohio. Offensively, there's questions to be asked. Alyssa George was a quarterback for this team last year, but she only threw for 500 yards. Is that going to be enough to maintain Pittsburgh's air attack this season? We'll find out week 1 against DC. On the running side, Marcelina Chavez was the leading rusher last year. but not their main running back option for the Pittsburgh Passion. No running back for Pittsburgh a year ago had more than 200 total yards on the ground. They need to rely on that ground game because when you have that time of possession to help supply that great defense, there's going to be a lot of good things upcoming for Pittsburgh. On the other side, DC, they're in a little bit of a year of transition as well. You look at the DC Divas and you see that points per game defensively that they gave up a year ago. 33 points per game is not great, but consider in context, they play Boston twice. They play a lot of these teams that were able to run the score up a lot against the DC Divas. Deja Scott figures to be back, figures to play a significant role as well in the DC Diva attack. And then you look at the All-Americans that they had last year as well. Shaquandra Gainey did a great job in the All-American game. And the question is, can the DC Divas' last-rate defense come back to the middle of the pack? With their schedule, certainly, it appears as though they have the ability to do so. The question becomes, can the offense maintain pace? And it'll be up to Congliardi and the DC Diva offense to be able to make sure they do so against Pittsburgh. Personally, on paper, I like the Pittsburgh Passion in this matchup. I feel as though that they have a strong team and they'll be able to continue to work on the strength of success that they had a season ago. And realistically speaking, Pittsburgh should be that second in line to the Boston Renegades this season.
This season, we have invited national champion and former Boston Renegade player Aaron Truex to do a little off the sideline, in the locker room, those types of interviews. Here's Aaron with this week's story.
I'm tired just listing off all those accolades, Moni.
Yeah, and that didn't even include a lot of play. I mean, part of WFA United for a minute, so yeah.
WFA United, absolutely.
I mean, it's been a lot, but you know, just the grind continues.
So you've played for 10 seasons, and it's always challenging to put into words what an upcoming season might mean to you. But we know that Cali War has been a really formidable opponent over the years and has really established itself as a powerhouse. And talk to me a little bit about the mentality of your team and what you all are doing to prepare and hopefully achieve a national championship in 2023.
I think for Cali War, we are looking at this season. Honestly, we kind of broke everything to bare bones. In 2019, 2018, 2019, we had two championship runs and sadly walked away from a championship with no trophy in hand. And then the past two seasons, we ran up against the powerhouse of Minnesota Vixen and have not been able to get over that hump. So in a way, this entire offseason, we did our own soul searching and went back to our roots of really training, recruiting, our Los Angeles area, and have really found some great gems all around LA and Inland Empire and Southern California, to put together a really great product, and we can't wait till the season to start.
What is one word or motto or phrase you are taking into the season to drive you?
That phrase would be, word would be relentless. We want to be relentless on all three phases: offense, defense, and especially special teams. Special teams is a unit that gets missed sometimes when we're training and getting ready for the season. And it still wins football games. And it's just being relentless at getting to know your teammates, being relentless of making sure we're ending practice on a good note. It's all those things and all those little things, I feel anyway, equals to making an amazing championship run.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back. The second game of the week features two past Division II national champions as the Mile High Blaze face off against the Nevada Storm. Alex, this is a game that many people are excited to see as we have two recent national champions playing for the very first time. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I think there's a good reason why a lot of people are looking forward to this game. You take a team in the Nevada Storm that certainly was on the rise over the last few years, Division III champions, Division II champions, and a playoff appearance their first year in WFA Pro. There's a lot to look forward to there in the Nevada Storm. Mo Etchen remains as quarterback for the team. The question becomes for Nevada, what are the options around her going to be? Defending American Conference MVP Jesse Felker is gone, as is Jasmine Plummer and wide receiver threat Ambra Marcucci gone from Nevada to the Cali War. The question becomes on offense, and that's a significant portion of what Nevada is able to do. They need to be able to have offensive firepower, and we'll find out in this Week 1 matchup against Mile High to determine where's the offense coming from for the Nevada Storm and what can they do with it on the football field. Mile High on the other side is a little bit of an enigma for me because we saw them in the Division II championship, a very impressive outing against the Derby City Dynamite. We think back to last July. That game against Derby City in the Division II championship, Mile High was the beneficiary of some questionable coaching decisions and time management by Derby City at the end of that contest. And so the question becomes, is Mile High ready for the big time of the WFA's Pro Division? The defense will not be a problem. The Mile High Blaze last year gave up the third fewest points, not just in the WFA Division II, but across all tiers of the WFA. They only gave up 4 points per game. The question becomes, can their defense stand strong against WFA Pro opponents this season? They played one game against a WFA Pro team last year. It was at home to the Nevada Storm in a game that they lost 22-8. Defensively, Leilani Kamal is the rock star on the defensive side for the Mile High Blaze. She will be able to do great things at the linebacking core, and we saw it again against Derby City. She's going to have a strong season this second season for the Mile High Blaze and figures to be a main player in that defense. The question becomes, can Kimberly Santis-Steven, also like Nevada on the other side, have enough options to be able to maintain pressure on a Nevada Storm team that once again appears to be going through a rebuilding phase? Personally, I like the homestanding Nevada Storm in this one. We don't know what the offense is going to look like, but we know that with the track record of Coach Garza and what the Nevada Storm have been able to do in years past, they certainly figure to be able to maintain victory and start their season off 1-0.
Like you, Alex, I'm super excited for the expansion of the WFA Pro Division this year. Remember, if you can't get to a game, make sure you tune in to watch. For Lois Cook, Aaron Truex, and Alex Westhead, I'm Brian Sweeney, and we'll see you on the road to Canton.
Thank you for watching the preceding presentation from the Women's Football Alliance.